too? Hey, Farron said. Wanna see something really cool? Farron took long, exaggerated strides to Amelia, then turned to Berenice and winked. Berenice covered her mouth, giggling. As Amelia's boyfriend shoved a cookie into his mouth, Farron reached through the front of his throat and grabbed the food. Holding it there, the boy sputtered and choked. Berenice stopped laughing when the crowd erupted as people tried to help. The Heimlich was induced while someone called 911. His lips turned blue and his eyes bulged from his head. Veins raised on his flushed, sweaty temples, and his limbs flailed, trying to push through his flesh to pull the food down. All the while, Farron roared with laughter, only releasing the boy when he no longer moved. Berenice heard Amelia scream as she sprinted upstairs before anyone noticed. She fell to the floor and called to her mom. Farron appeared, his face dark. "We need to leave. Right now." "Why?" Berenice cried. "No one could see me, but they saw you. The only one there who didn't belong." "What?" Berenice sniffed. Amelia yelled her name from downstairs. "She thinks it was you." Farron said, "I didn't do it. You'll be blamed for this. Come on, you know it'll happen. You're amazing, but they only see a freak, a fuck up." Berenice sobbed. "I didn't do anything. You didn't stop me." "What? You could have told me to stop. You should have told me to." "I couldn't." She tried to defend herself, not sputtering out apologizes. She couldn't be responsible. She didn't even want to go downstairs. But Farron was her friend. He was always honest with her. He listened to her. Shouldn't she listen now? "No time now. You have to get out of here." Berenice lowered her head. "Where can I go?" Farron held out his hand. She looked at the board, hoping. "There's only me, kid. We both tried. She's not answering. Mom, should I go?" She wiped her eyes. "She's not there. For Christ's sakes, kid, we gotta go." Farron saw the planchette begin to move. "I hear sirens." He snatched her arm and wrenched her out of the room as the planchette moved in earnest. "Even if you did contact your mother, she couldn't help you with this. I can. My friends can. We help kids like you all the time." Farron floated backwards, rambling with glee. He talked about where they would go, what they'd see, how his friends searched for only special people like her. They came into the hall leading to the entry, and she looked over her shoulder to see Amelia sobbing on the phone, pacing. Most of the kids had fled, the rest were calling for rides. The kids who didn't leave were around her doing the same. Farron stopped at the front door. "Go on," Farron said. "My friends are waiting outside. They have a car we can use to get out of here." Berenice opened the door and stepped into the cool October night. She closed the front door behind them. Parked halfway on the lawn was the same white van her father pointed out, sirens growing louder in the distance, the emergency vehicles quickly nearing. "Go on." Farron waved his hands towards the vehicle. "We have to hurry." Two women were outside the open passenger door. One was older and haggard, shaking on her knees and pulling at her wild hair, and the other was younger, standing and motioning to the door, as if the other woman didn't exist. The woman on her knees saw Berenice and scrambled closer to her. "Help me. Please call my husband, find my kids." The younger woman rolled her eyes and fell into the older one. The older one convulsed and stood up. She cleared her throat. She smiled, too far and too wide. "Hop in, sweetie." "Yeah," Farron said. "We're taking this party on the road." Berenice hesitated, but his firm, icy grip dug into her shoulder. "Move. You ain't got another option." Berenice sucked in air in shaking breaths, almost hyperventilating while she walked to the van, Farron's hand never leaving her. In Berenice's room, on a handmade spirit board, the cardboard planchette furiously moved, even as the sounds of the van's sputtering engine faded into the night. "RUN. There is no sound in your ear. And the cause isn't clear, because earwigs burrow gently, and their singing sounds like ringing, and they insist they're your friends as they carve a new home within. I found the Knock Knock house rotting in the woods behind the cemetery, just as the stories said. I knocked on the basement door twice, just as the stories said. Some mistakes can't be taken back, slipping out like a thoughtless word and demolishing your world. My name is Patricia Baxter, and I recently moved to Irvine, Oklahoma. My mother uprooted us from the city to live some rural fantasy. She said I would make real friends here. My first week was a procession of people asking my name and what church I attended. Friendship hinged on the latter. So, when a group actually approached me at my locker after months of being a ghost, I thought things were looking up. "It's Patricia, right?" I recognized Jordan. I had 3 classes with him. He stood with 4 others. "Right? We're going on a little adventure after school. Wanna come with?" The smirks on their faces were a red flag. Yeah, I wanted to be part of the group, and I hoped Jordan would notice me, but this felt off. "Where are you going?" I said. Jordan leaned in, locking eyes. My face burned. "Listen, so there's this abandoned house. It's in the woods behind the cemetery, and people say that if you find the house and knock on the basement door twice, you'll hear 2 knocks back. We're going out there after school. What's this place called?" "The Knock Knock house," Jordan said. Jordan leaned in even closer and whispered, "I'd really like if you'd come with me, please." That whisper was all it took. The brown eyes didn't hurt either. He said he'd swing by my place. I told him my address. Caitlin, the only other girl in the group, said she would see me later. The glee in her voice should have been the biggest red flag of all. The Greenview Cemetery was the oldest in town, closed to new admissions. The ground rolled up into a slight hill, dotted with tombstones and crosses. Trees shaded much of the grounds, trunks pushing against the wrought iron fences. The forest gradually healing a wound, I followed them inside through the front gate. They told me stories they'd heard. If you went into the basement, you never came back. The house belonged to a serial killer. Satanic ceremonies took place there. The usual. I had been on ghost hunting trips before, which usually ended with my friends and I just shooting the shit in a cemetery. Jordan reached the rear fence first and lifted the loose chain link, ushering me under. The rest crawled under after me. Caitlin giggled behind me. I turned back to find her looking at the ground, like nothing had happened, and Jordan motioned to the woods surrounding us. "Start looking. It's a creepy-ass house. First one to find it calls the rest." Caitlin yelled to Jordan. When he ignored her, she grabbed the hand of another guy in the group and dragged him into the trees. The other 2 split. I wanted to ask Jordan where we should look first, but he already walked away. Disappointed, I searched alone. A creek traced a deep cut into the earth, creating tall, steep embankments. Broken pieces of smooth, angled granite and discarded plastic flowers littered the creek bed. I started to tightrope across a log to the other side, but my foot slipped, and I dove onto the ground to avoid tumbling into the water. Sitting up, I saw something in the trees ahead. The house, a simple 1-story shack. The roof caved in, and the walls sun-bleached. The collapsed front porch rested on the ground. I called out to the others, and when they didn't respond, I checked my phone. No signal. Just a house. Around me, birds and insects sang. I was far from alone, really. I went inside. With my old friends, I'd explored many abandoned houses. It was more something to do, something to see, instead of searching for ghosts or whatever. But aside from leaves and dust, there was no trash, no graffiti, not even a single beer can. This house was strangely clean. Other than a few patches of wallpaper, none of the walls had paint. A door directly across from the entrance caught my eye. It seemed at one point it had blue and red trim with ornate carvings of flowery vines in green. Closer, I noticed the vines encircled a deer standing on two legs. The bronze knob and keyhole had delicate flourishes too. I gripped the freezing doorknob and turned it. The door popped and the hinges squealed when I opened it. Inside, the stairs had fallen in completely, leaving a 6-foot drop into dark water. A little bit of light glittered on the surface. A sour smell burned my nostrils, wrought with tinges of sweet. I shut the door. A creepy house, an odd basement door. Had I found the knock-knock house? I tried to send a text, but no signal. I remembered their stories, that nothing happens until you knock, twice. I raised my hand to the door, but it wouldn't budge. I took a breath. I felt nervous. This was just a game like Bloody Mary, right? But my fist refused to move, like every fiber of my being knew it was wrong. I breathed in, breathed out, and using more force than normal, I finally knocked once, then twice. I quickly stepped back like something was going to burst through it and waited. I stepped back and crossed my arms, 2 echoing slams against the door, each making the wood bow out and rattle the doorknob. I cried out, jumping. There was nothing down there but water. There weren't even stairs. The knob slowly turned, then stopped. With it, all sounds stopped as well, every insect and bird silenced. I breathed in, but couldn't exhale. An immense pressure squeezed me, like the air had become a constricting python. Falling onto my ass hard, I scrambled out of the house, forgetting about the porch, and rolled down the steps into the grass. The pressure weakened the more distance I put between me and the cabin, and it was gone by the time I reached the creek. I slipped on the bank's slick surface and dropped into the water. The muddy water soaked me. The cold caught my breath, but I kept going. I cracked my knee off the sharp edge of an abandoned tombstone jutting from the mud, and searing pain bolted through me, blood immediately gushing out. Before I could double over, plunging face first into the creek, a hand grabbed me. I looked up to see Jordan. The others stood on the bank above us. "Where the hell were you?" he said, helping me to the opposite side of the creek. "We've been looking for you for an hour." I told them what happened, how I tried to get their attention. "Bullshit," Caitlin said. "I was gone 5 minutes, if that, I swear to God," I said. "No, we got here at 6 o'clock. It's almost said." Lynn held up her phone. "No, that's not right." I pulled out my phone, buzzing with dozens of texts. 6:52 p.m. I had lost an hour in that house. Jordan helped me to my feet. I still clung to his arm when I stood. "I'm sorry. I don't know what happened, Jordan," Caitlin said. "Since Patty tried to fuck with us, I say we leave her ass here. I wasn't messing with you." Jordan rested his hand on my shoulder. "Here, let me talk to them." He walked to the bank and the others pulled Jordan up. He brushed off his pants, laughed, and ran. "Wait," I screamed, struggling up the muddy embankment. Clambering to the top, I watched them run through the cemetery to the car. I looked back, and the house had gotten closer. Only a few feet from the creek. Houses can't move. The house jerked forward like a frame in reality had skipped. Houses can move. I bolted, my soaked clothes clinging to me, slowing me down. Jordan's car spit gravel as it peeled away. It was out of the graveyard when I reached the road. The sound of groaning trees caused me to glance over my shoulder. The house was at the tree line, illuminated from within. As if I could go any faster, I forced my legs to move, cold air burning my throat, a stitch in my side burning. I only made a little ways away from the graveyard before I collapsed on the side of the road. I pulled out my phone. It finally had signal. I called my mom. "Things didn't work out with your new friends?" Mom glanced away from the road long enough to gauge my response. I stared out the window. How could I explain what I saw? Out the window, I caught a glimpse of light. A tall rectangle, glowing just beyond the row of trees and telephone poles blurring past. The knock-knock house door. How? I wasn't imagining it. I lost an hour of time. That happened. Now the sun had set. Darkness as we arrived home. My mother asked me again what happened after she parked in the driveway and told me I could tell her anything, nothing. Just another day in paradise, you know? The only friends I've made ditched me in a cemetery. But hey, you finally get to live in the country, right? Patricia, she sighed. I threw open the car door, jumped out, and went straight into my room. My heart pounded and a nauseating heaviness sat in my stomach. Keeping the lights off, I lay in my bed and closed my eyes. I was on the cusp of sleep when the scratches started. My closet. Do we have fucking rats now? I opened my eyes, got up and went to open it. Knock, knock. The closet door bounced against the doorframe. I ran from my room into the hall. I wanted to tell someone, for someone to help, but who would I tell? My mother? Where would she move us then? I went downstairs, convinced sleep was impossible, but I still managed to pass out on the living room couch. The sudden need to pee roused me awake, and I stumbled to the bathroom. Briefly in my half-sleep state, everything that happened that evening was absent from my mind. Maybe it had been a dream, or just my imagination? Maybe I hit my head at the cemetery and fell unconscious. I could still be there, conjuring up all of this. But it didn't matter if it was real or not, because the way my stomach was in my throat and the fear I felt when I halted when I reached the bathroom was real. Before, it had been a thin white door. Now, old decayed wood. Flicks of red and blue paint. The ornate features dotted with specks of green paint. Nope, I said. Nope, nope, nope. Knock, knock. Loud reverberations shot through the floor, and suddenly the house seemed too small, closing in. Yet I stepped closer to the door, touching it with my fingertips. A ragged and wrathful voice echoed from it. Answer it. I screamed and ran to my mother's room. I didn't care where we moved anymore, so I told her everything. So we come out here, start fresh, and you pull this silly shit? Go to bed. I left without a word and closed her bedroom door. She called me back in, but when I turned back it had changed. Peeling paint, weathered wood, rusted hinges. Mom? My voice cracked. Knock. Knock. The door changed back to normal, dematerializing like the ancient facade was only covering the new. I hurried back downstairs to be away from any doors, even if for a moment. I hid under a blanket on the recliner, Googling on my phone, searching for anything I could to learn more about the house, terrified to go anywhere. But there was nothing except for the folktale I was told about at school. I turned off my phone and wanted to sleep. It took several hours, but finally I did. A break from the madness. My mom woke me the next morning. I threw my arms around her and asked if she would bring me some clothes from my room. Surprisingly, she did. Her coldness gone from the night before. I rode to school with my head down, eyes closed in an attempt to not see the door, but it was there. The ebb in the air, the pressure, and a sound like wind roaring in a tunnel. My mom said something, and I nodded, hoping it was the right action. I guess it was, since then she asked if I felt okay, and I told her I was just a little carsick. I didn't see it in the building the entire morning, but I braced myself just the same. When lunch came, I sat alone. Then came the absence of noise. All sounds of talking and eating ceased. The pressure, the sound of roaring wind. Then nothing, like snow in a forest. Shaking, I looked up and the door stood in the middle of the cafeteria, the nearby tables shoved away. Everyone sat with their hands on their lap, staring at it. People on their feet were frozen, their trays clattering on the scuff-marked tile. A light outlined the door, burning behind it. The once peeled paint, now vibrant shades of red and blue, the ornate details green. Their mouths were open and eyes glazed. They turned to me, simultaneously. Hundreds of eyes on me. I stood, tears blurring my vision. The door moved closer. I screamed and dropped to the floor, arms over my head. Sound returned. I heard everyone whispering. The kids, not gawking at me, gathered up their trays or were pushing the tables back. My panic was obvious, and those still looking at me seemed concerned or were laughing to one another. I felt like I was on fire. I ran outside. No one made an attempt to stop me. Not even the teachers. Mom's car was outside. She was home. I needed her. I needed to know this wasn't happening. I needed her to tell me I was crazy. I burst into the kitchen from the back door. She was at the sink, leaning on her arms and looking out the window, still dressed for work, which she apparently missed. I began to speak, but stopped when I noticed she had a slack, fixed expression, not broken with a single blink. "Mom, are you okay?" "Wind." She didn't respond. I sniffed and steadied my voice. "Mom, you didn't go to work?" Pressure. "Why don't you just answer it?" Mom said slowly, softly, like waking from a deep sleep. "What? You heard me." Mom turned to me. "Answer the door." I stepped back. "Mom?" She started to nod her head, shaking vigorously. The shaking then moved to her arms, and shuffling away from the sink, she went to the kitchen door, moving like a 90-year-old. I followed her to her bedroom where she lay down. She closed her eyes, and the shaking stopped. "Mom?" No response, but I could tell she was breathing. She jerked upright, grabbed her phone from her pocket, then faced me. "It's 1 o'clock. Why aren't you at school?" She wiped her eyes. "You didn't go to work today," I said. "I didn't. I can choose not to. I'm the adult." "Now answer my question." Behind her, the door to her bathroom darkened with red and blue, hints of green, a gentle glow seeping around the edges. I didn't feel good. My voice cracked. She walked to me and held me. I sobbed. "What's wrong?" I sobbed and pulled her away from the doorway, collapsing in the hall. She held me then, rocking me gently. I tried to research it again. No mention anywhere of the house or the legend besides what I was told. I actually emailed the town historian and contacted City Hall through their website, but no one had heard of the Knock Knock house. At the library, I spoke to the librarian through the sheet of plexiglass at her desk and asked her if she'd heard of the house. She laughed and said, "Of course." "When did you hear about it?" I asked. "Well, hon, I must have been a kid," she said. "When? Who told you? Do you remember?" She tilted her head. Her eyes flitted to the left. "Gosh, I can't recall." Behind her, the door to an office changed. Red and blue, hints of green. I left before the pressure built. I ambushed the group outside of the school, hoping they'd have answers. They seemed shocked to see me. "Hey Pat, sorry we never called," Jordan said, smiling. "We were just messing with you." "I don't fucking care." I said, "Listen, the house. Where did you hear about it?" "The house." Behind him, the others snickered. "Oh, right. The Knock Knock house. Sorry about ditching you. We were just kidding." "Where did you hear the story of the Knock Knock house?" Jordan laughed. "Everyone knows about the place. It's just a story." "No," I said. "Think. Who told it to you?" I glanced over them all. They smiled at first, exchanging glances between one another. I pressed again. "Who told you about the house? Who told you about the rules or where to find it?" They laughed. They kept laughing far too long. When they gradually stopped, they grew quiet, lost in thought, tracing the origin. One by one, each peeled off with an excuse: homework, work, chores. They kept their heads down, leaving like something interesting was on the ground. Jordan left last, stopping midway down the block to look back at me. I realized they hit the same wall as me. There was no history, no stories, not even a YouTube video or TikTok dare about the place. The house sprung forth in their minds from a source unknown. Just as the house arrived in the woods that day, lost in the trees for me to find. Pressure in the air again. But I didn't jump when I turned to the door on the sidewalk behind me. I turned and faced it. I stepped closer. The light burned. Knock, knock. The concrete at my feet cracked, the lines forming jagged fissures running towards my feet. The weight of what the door carried crushed the earth beneath it. No running. I made my way there, and of course, every house along the way had the same front door. I'm at home writing this on my porch. I don't dare touch the front door. I'm telling strangers because everyone else knows the story and no one else believes it. The door is every door now. 2 knocks on the other side, the colors vibrant with fresh paint, while in the mirror a pale and sunken figure appears, like I'm losing something dear with every breath. The door shudders, threatening to shatter. It debates because it can. Me? Not so sure. Hard to eat, hard to sleep. I'm going to answer the door. I have to. It's here, because it will be the next one I see. My name is Patricia Baxter, and I live on 222 East Elizabeth Street in Irwin, Oklahoma. Remember that, in case no one else does, I got you back. Revenge as nasty as anyone could imagine. It took years, planning and scheming, keeping you close and hiding my hate behind a banal smile. We became friends, didn't we? You even apologized for it. Can you imagine? It took everything. It cost so much, but I paid you back tenfold for all of it. My face, the last you saw. I made sure you knew. I made damn sure. Truly, it was exquisite. But now, what is this emptiness? Why has all this effort left me with so little? Oh, this must be your revenge. I've been digging for an hour when the world ends. My spring project. A koi pond for the front yard. A perfect outdoor task for an unseasonably warm February morning. An ice storm waits, but for now the low gray clouds have been lifted and the sun breaks through. I've shed my jacket, and the dull ache in my lower back is reason enough for a break. I drop the shovel and peel off my gloves, dropping them in the hole. I make a slow fist and undo it to stretch my fingers. Kicking off my boots, I swing open the storm door and go inside. Every window is open, the breeze running through the house and pushing with it the dust of a long winter. The baby is still napping. Even at 2, he needs a nap twice a day, and for that, we're thankful. Phoebe sits with her legs crossed at the kitchen table, still in her pajamas. A comfortable day. She takes a sip of coffee and scrolls on her phone. Makes me think of a quote. Who was it, Vonnegut? Yeah, Vonnegut. He said to take time to say to yourself, well, if this isn't nice, what is? Oh my God. She stands, clutching the phone in both hands. What's up? Oh my God. Oh my fucking God. Her eyes scan the screen, back and forth and back and forth. Her mouth falls open, her lips quivering. I laugh, but not because anything is funny. I ask again, and she runs to the TV. She's shaking. Wah. I follow her and ask again what's happening, my voice raised. She pushes her phone to my chest, while turning to the news station. Nuclear detonations on the East Coast reads a scrolling headline. What a well-mannered way to put it. The image shows an overhead map of the eastern states, with angry red dots popping up over various cities, spreading like mites. The TV echoes the same. Several states lost all communication. More bombs fall. U.S. responds in kind. No answers, only silence from what remains of each leveled city. I drop the phone and pull Phoebe to me. I tell her it's okay. We're in Oklahoma, for Christ's sake, who would bother? But I feel like we need to run. Where to? What's the minimum safe distance for the apocalypse? Phoebe sobs, digging her fingers into my chest, and I squeeze her tighter, my comfort compressing her like a python. Eric wakes in the next room, his wails joining hers. What do we do? I'm running now, pacing the kitchen, gathering up water bottles and canned foods. They're piled on the counter. Do we have a can opener that isn't electric? Load up the car. We'll load up the car and head west. Maybe north, far from anywhere, far from the radiation. Does it spread with the wind? If it does, maybe we'll still be out of reach. That's where the rich build their bunkers, right? 1 minute into the world's end, and I'm wondering what I truly know about nuclear weapons outside of movies and TV. Phoebe stopped sobbing, but she doesn't stop watching the news. She sniffs and wipes her nose. Phoebe? She looks towards me, but her gaze is far beyond. Phoebe, we're going to be okay. She motions to the screen. Every major city on the map bathed in red. The coffee maker bubbles. I catch the sugary scent of cinnamon rolls Phoebe made on the counter. A comfortable day. Was at least. I embrace her again and put myself between her and the TV. I promise we'll be fine. The world is ending. No, I tell her. No. Just get Eric and anything he needs. Pack some clothes, for all kinds of weather, coast and all. I tell her I'll load the car with food and supplies. Flashlights? Do we need batteries and soap? She walks down the hall to Eric, while I grab every non-perishable item our kitchen contains. Canned pumpkin pie mix? It's good for years, right? Outside, birds sing of a tomorrow that may not come. Their songs overcome by screaming, doors slamming, cars peeling out, panic out there and in here. Focus. Focus on stuffing whatever I can into this plastic bag. Forks, spoons. I should fill the empty water bottles. Phoebe, how's it going in there? I call, running down the hall to her. I peek into Eric's room, his bed empty, toys strewn on the floor, but the dresser drawers are all closed. No suitcases being filled. I shout for her again, beelining for the bedroom. Bed unmade.